As the weather starts to get colder, restaurants, schools, and other establishments won't be able to host people outside anymore. Cities that have been heavily affected by the coronavirus, especially in the north, will face a dilemma. They can either have the restaurants close down or operate at very low capacity, just with takeout, for example, which already proved to kneecap these restaurants and they're now suing some of these cities. Or they can risk it and try to just let the restaurants and other establishments seat people inside. Other countries that tried this experienced from time to time flares up of another outbreak. But what if they could have the best of both worlds? What if there was an invention that would allow restaurants to host people at full capacity and still be safe? That's the UV spinner. It's based on ultraviolet light. Now, in order for the ultraviolet light to kill 99% of germs, including the coronavirus, it needs to be pretty strong. And the UVC light that is used is harmful to humans, which is why subways and buses are already using it, but only when people are not around. Hospitals and other establishments can put UV light into the ceiling and then try to blow air up into the ceiling. But the problem is, of course, we don't know how much air has gone up there or whether any particular air has been disinfected. Instead, the UV spinner works on a very simple mechanism. It's inspired by those rotating doors at the lobbies of buildings. You simply move the air using walls. So, suppose there's potentially infected air on either side of this thing. Well, it simply rotates the air into position. And then, in that compartment, it irradiates the air using UV light for 10 seconds or more, killing 99% of all the viruses and germs. Once the air has been disinfected, the contraption rotates again, and now the air is safe to breathe. The UV spinner can be used in a variety of situations and combined to create all kinds of solutions. For example, in a restaurant, you can have compartments, almost like cubicles and enclosures, which have walls that are see-through and then sort of retractable doors on either side. So for example, if you have a table surrounded by this kind of thing, people can just come in and close the door behind them. The UV spinner can be used for more than just air. It can also be used to disinfect food, including cold salads. So for example, if a waiter comes and they can put a dish onto the spinner, activate it, and it appears on the other side already disinfected. So now cold dishes can be served to everybody, and people can eat and come as a family. Now, of course, the people might be able to infect each other inside this thing, but the people and the waiters do not have to pass germs to one another. Let's look at the UV spinner in a larger setting. In this restaurant setting, the blue areas are outside, and people are kind of walking between the tables. People can eat in these enclosures while the waiters can move around outside with no problem. When people use the outside corridors, they simply wear a mask until they come inside. Once they're inside and they close the door behind them, they can simply take off the mask and socialize as normal. The UV spinner allows people to actually socialize and fill up a restaurant to full capacity. Now, if a person wants to leave and go to the bathroom, for example, they put on a mask, open the door, and go visit the bathroom. Once they're done and they come back, the bathroom itself is given the UV treatment. The entire room is irradiated to kill the viruses. Once the person returns to their table, they can lock the door behind them and take off the mask again. Finally, When everybody leaves the table, they put on their mask, open the door, and leave. Once that happens, then the door can be closed and the entire table can be irradiated and ready for the next group of people. So that's how the UV spinner can allow a space to be used to practically full capacity and serving as many customers as needed, disinfecting between them and allowing everyone to be safe without spreading too many germs. This can also be used for classrooms to allow safe interactions in schools. And it can be used in office buildings, which already often have these cubicles. So all you have to do is add a few things with UV light, and suddenly people can use desks one after the other. So that's the idea. One UV spinner, a simple mechanism, something that is very easy to manufacture. And if restaurants have something like this, then you can actually allow them as regulators to stay open as long as they observe these rules. This is good for cities. This is good for regulators and politicians who won't get sued anymore by restaurants. And it's good, of course, for the private establishments who are now able to operate at full capacity. Check out uvspinner.com.